I've had the privilege of speaking to some very successful people in my life, and this is a compilation of all the good advice that I've received over time from these people. And let me tell you something, a lot of them are going to shock you. My personal favorite is number five. Let's get into it. One thing that really stood out to me after talking with all these successful people was that you need to have a support system. This is a very underrated privilege, and I don't even understand why. Because having people that support you, they don't even have to be your family, they don't even have to be related to you by blood. Just even if it's just a friend that really, really gets your vision and believes in you, it's going to take you so far because then it just does something for your mind. Because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. It's just something that speeds up your journey to success or the journey to success. A lot of the time, people mistake having a support system with like having rich parents, having connections, having wealthy affiliations. While this can also be true, it is not the be all and end all. You still need to have like regular people, normal people, just your friends, people that can key into your vision, people that can pour into you, and people that you can pour into as well. Think about it like a symbiosis. You need like a positive environment to just help your journey to success. In the point of this support system, I'll also add that I got a lot of you need a mentor. You need to get a mentor. A mentor can provide insights, valuable years of experience for you. So mistakes that they've made in their own career path or in whatever. So I'd say that for each thing that you're doing. So if it's spiritual growth you want, you need a mentor for spiritual growth. If you need a mentor for, if it's career growth, you need a mentor for career growth. And the years of their experience, basically you don't want what has happened to them to happen to you. So a mentor is supposed to be like an in-between for you, somebody that can help you through. But also bear in mind that it needs to be a two-way street. You don't want to just be like collecting, because mentors are human beings too. Do things for them. Think about ways that you can help their lives be easier. Appreciate them. That's what I'll say. The second point is access to opportunities. Guys, let's talk about opportunities for a second. First of all, you need to come to terms that opportunities aren't just handed out equally, and that is fine. It is unfair, but that's life, right? For some people, they are easy and abundant, and for some people, they are hard to come by. If you're rich, it's usually smoother because you have a solid support system, you have solid resources, you have people that care about you, and the world is basically your oyster because you have the resources that can afford you those opportunities. But if you're not rich, it's a completely different story. Now, everybody loves a good grass to grace story, including myself. I'm a sucker for grass to grace stories. It's something that is often told, it's a tale as old as time. All the movies we watch, all the cartoons, we're inundated with like grace to grass stories. In fact, that's I dare say the benchmark of what capitalism is based off of. Like if you work hard enough, if you do this better than other people, you're going to like excel. However, within the course of my research, I found out that there are multiple types of poverty. We're going to focus on the two main types of poverty for the purpose of this point. So there's absolute poverty and there's relative poverty. Even myself, when I saw it, I don't know. I was confused. I was perplexed. I can't lie. Absolute poverty is when a household income is below a certain threshold and it makes it impossible for the family or the person to meet basic needs, including food, shelter, education, healthcare, etc. I'm going to list my source in my description box, so don't worry about it. And then relative poverty is when households receive 50% less than average household incomes in their vicinity or in where they stay, right? So they have money, but they don't have enough. Does that make sense? Right. So if you're in absolute poverty, it's almost impossible to rise to success because you're so focused on surviving that there's no space for you to thrive. There's no space for you to grow. But if you're in relative poverty, you have a better chance at survival. You have a better chance for a, grass to grace story. A lot of the grass to grace stories that we hear, very rarely are they from people that were in absolute poverty. And if they were in absolute poverty, is usually very profound because what that person has done is defy odds that statistically they were not supposed to defy. So a lot of the more common like grass to grace stories we hear are from people that maybe they were in relative poverty. Does that make sense? However, it does not mean that people that are in absolute poverty can never make it. As I stated earlier, you just need to be strategic, more intentional. To be honest, I'll say both for like people in absolute and people in relative poverty as well. You need to be strategic, you need to be intentional about every single one of your decisions. You need to surround yourself with like people who also have big dreams, big minds, because that's the only way you're going to dream your way out of the situation that you are in, and you're going to work yourself to the bones. Like, guys, this is not even, I'm not trying to polish it. It's just true. You're going to have to work 10 times as hard as people that either grew up rich or are from rich environments, right? The third point is that you need to learn to pivot quickly. You need to start failing today and fail fast, fail quickly so that you can pivot onto the next thing. There is no time. One thing I've learned is that failure isn't the end. In fact, it's good to fail, and it's good to fail as quickly as possible. It's all a part of your journey. I know it sounds cliche, but successful people have taught me that each failure is actually a lesson in disguise, and every attempt you make brings you closer to getting it right. It might not seem like it now, but all the failures that you've had along the way, at the end of the day, you're able to look at it backwards. I forget that quote now from Steve Jobs that says, I'm not even sure it's Steve Jobs, but I think it's Steve Jobs that said that something about following the story backwards. I don't remember the quote now, but I'll put it here for you guys to see. The fourth point that I have is that you need to build a strong network. People matter more than you think. You're not a tree. You cannot be an island. Even in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can see that we need each other to survive. I once heard a preacher say that the earth is the business of men. And this is specifically for religious people. If you believe in any sort of religion at all, the earth is the business of men. And so God can help you, but then you need men to actually help you. I think the person that said this was Apostle Joshua Selman, if I'm not wrong, right? And it's not what you know, but it is who you know. This is a saying that I've heard multiple times from the people around me or the people that, I consider very successful. So it's who you know. And even in the way the world functions, a lot of what you know, you may not even get the opportunity to show people what you know if you're not in front of the correct people. It needs to be who you know that will make what you know relevant or useful. Yes, we now have the internet and everybody can advertise and share what they know, but at the end of the day, we live in real life. Okay. The internet is good, but we live in real life. Okay. Okay. The fifth and my favorite point is to not limit yourself. Use your imagination, take calculated risks, and don't let your emotions drive your decisions. That was a long one, but this is genuinely my favorite quote and my favorite points in this list. So I read a book called Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. I read it last year and it's by Bob Proctor. And in that book, he talks about how a lot of the things that we're living in now, a lot of the paradigms that we're existing in now are not even our personal paradigms. These are paradigms that were given to us by our parents, by our surroundings, and we just carried on believing them, right? So your imagination is very powerful. I also read, I don't know if it's that same book, but I remember reading somewhere or like listening to something where they said that nothing on this earth existed first. It all existed in people's imaginations first. So if you're thinking now, think about the airplane. It was somebody's imagination. People were like, oh, imagine if human beings could fly. It was the Wright brothers. I know maybe somebody else before the Wright brothers, but the Wright brothers are who come to my mind now. And they thought, oh, okay, imagine if we could fly. And they started doing it. Like things that we are enjoying now, the mobile phone, the digital cameras, the microphones, things that we use now, it was literally out of somebody's imagination. So use your imagination. It's one of your greatest assets. Listen, you have so many opportunities in this world to do different things. You just need to dream, think big. It is free of charge. Like, send the check to God. Okay. If you believe in God, send him the check because he can pay. He's good for it. The check is going to be cleared. I feel like, in terms of like taking calculated risks, that one is more like self explanatory. You just need to take calculated risks. Don't do things impulsively. Don't do things without doing a due diligence or carrying out your proper research. And also, don't let your emotions drive you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a bad emotion. Loss is an emotion. You don't let loss drive you. Happiness is an emotion. You don't want to take important decisions when you're extremely happy, when you're extremely excited, because you can tell the wrong people the right things. You can say something that you shouldn't have been saying to a particular person if you're too excited. The worst one of it all is anger. Don't let anger drive you. That's the worst, because people have made mistakes that have cost them their lives in anger. Just relax, take a deep breath, count to 10. And if you're still not count to 20. And if it still doesn't work, leave that place, please. The sixth point I have is to never stop learning, and also to not have an arrival mentality like, oh, I have arrived. It's always good to continue being a student of life because there's still so much for you to know. There's so much, even when you think you know everything, you don't know everything. There's still so much to learn, so much to unlearn. So keep that mindset open. Just commit to learning something new every single day, every single week. It could be a new skill, a new language. It doesn't matter what it is, or even when you're scrolling on your FYP, try to not be scrolling and listening to like things that are not feeding your spirit or things that you're not learning from. Don't let your whole social media scrolling or your whole social media feed just be like gossip blogs. Try to subscribe to intelligent things, things that are going to teach you and help you grow in life as well. The seventh point I have is that patience and delegation are key. Finally, patience really goes a long way. Sometimes when things aren't happening as quickly as you'd like, the best thing you can do is just to keep showing up and trust that it's all going to come together in time. And finally, with delegation, you don't have to do everything by yourself. Feel free to like ask people around you for help. Feel free to pay for services. Because you can do something does not mean you should do something. You're starting a business, you're doing something. Is it a wiser idea to delegate certain tasks and just pay for them than for you to do it yourself? You don't want to burn out. You're your most valuable asset. Like you are your most valuable asset, and you don't want to burn out. Like you are more valuable than doing the tiny, tiny things that you can genuinely just delegate, if that makes sense. The eighth point and the final thing that I have learned from all these successful people is that you need to value your time. Time is currency. Set boundaries and protect your peace fiercely. Successful people prioritize their peace, they prioritize their time. These are non negotiables because if you're wasting your time, you're literally wasting your life, especially because we don't know how much time we have. We know how much money we have, we know how much. We have a lot of things that can be measured, but with time, we really don't know. Young people can die, old people can die, sickness can come, life can change real fast. So it's very important that you value your time, you set those boundaries, because if you don't, people are going to drain you and you're going to just be giving your energy and your time away to things that don't matter. Boundaries can be anything. Let's use financial boundaries for an example. So let's say you haven't even reached your financial goals, you haven't attained your financial goals, but you're overextending yourself and over helping. There's a type of help that then does not make any sense when you yourself you're not even okay yet. Like you're borrowing money to pay your rent, but you're sending money to somebody else that has another problem. Do you get what I mean? If you don't set financial boundaries, you'll find yourself in a constant cycle of being broke, not because you don't earn enough, but because you don't protect what you have. And we know that if you're not faithful in the little things, you are not going to be faithful in the more things, because it's not because you don't have $1 billion. That's not why you're not good with money. If you're not good with money with 1 naira, you're not going to be good with 1 billion naira. Do you get what I mean? And that is why in my next video, we're going to be talking all about money. We're going to be dissecting the situation of why you're always broke, even though you're earning decent money. The money that you're earning, people are training people are sending people to university and school with that money, yet it's not enough for you. If this is you, yes, I am dragging you. So please click on my next video here, and we're going to talk about money, and we're going to talk about ending the cycle of being broke all the time. As somebody that was there before, I have a lot to say to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you're new here, hi, my name is Cookie, and I make videos like this on my channel, and I also make other informative videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.